AI. Everybody tells you how great it is. And then you see some whizzy demo that shows it working just perfectly. These demos often make out that is the answer to everything. Those who saw my keynote speech at the Las Vegas conference will know that AI is far from the Holy Grail and may recall covering the 5 biggest mistakes A to E that people are making with AI. The fact is that people are in a frenzy to dive in before they even know how to swim, and rarely do they know what to do if they find themselves out of their depth. All of the graphics in this presentation, other than the screenshots and logos, are generated by AI and have not been directly edited. It'll show you what AI can and can't do with graphics. We all like AI. For some, sure, it gives them someone to boss around, but that's not the real reason it's so popular. It's easy. We just ask it. It's an extension of something we already do as we try to find answers. You type in stuff or even give it a document to read, and we don't even have to think. Now we assume AI can do it for us. Since the start of record keeping on large chunks of engravable mud back in Mesopotamia, we've made it easier and easier to store and retrieve data. These mud tablets were the birth of the second of the 2 inevitables, death and taxes. And with taxation made so much easier, with this structured writing made a lot of rulers very wealthy indeed. The Egyptians were perhaps the pinnacle of showing that wealth, creating paper and making it easy to carry around those tax bills. There really was no escape, and they got a healthy slice of all the action from everyone. Since that, writing has also allowed us to document so much knowledge, and we went from a few tablets holding details of which port traders traded with who, to millions, billions, trillions of pieces of paper as our knowledge was captured into books. And with the printing press, this volume only rocketed upwards. With increased volume came the issue of finding information. In the early days, you could simply glance at a mud tablet and see the answers. Then, finding information meant searching massive data repositories called libraries, with books full of it. Even technology like microfiches helped people to find more information and find more places on which to order it from. Digitization then made it so much easier, and with the internet, it made it quicker too. Information of extreme granularity was suddenly available at the touch of our hands. Pick a word, however complex, and do a search, and you'll find where it already appears. We can search everything that has ever been digitized and is available on the internet, and we can find it. Isn't that just amazing? And now we have AI to do even more heavy lifting for us. Ask it a question. You don't even have to restrict yourself to just a short line anymore, and it will search through huge quantities of previously uncategorized material and search for meaning and return it to you, not as a list, but as a 10-page PDF, if you like. We have made asking questions so much easier, and we can even choose the format of how we want to get those answers. It really is search on steroids. And the doors it opens up to us are like never before. When I did a marine biology degree many years ago, there was no internet. My studies meant reading everything I could and applying for papers far and wide, waiting for weeks and then discovering it wasn't even the right information that I needed. Just a few years later, it was available in a split second. And now we can search huge volumes and get to do complex comparisons and give us the results that might otherwise have taken us weeks or more to work out. Let's not focus on accuracy at this moment and just stand in awe at the great achievement of turning hundreds of hours of talks into a summary in around 10 milliseconds. And we get better and more accurate. Just think, what will we come up with next? So what are these 5 biggest mistakes that people are making with AI that I often talk about? Understanding them is as easy as A, B, C, D, and D. A is for autonomy. AI isn't intelligent. It isn't autonomous. So why would we give it the autonomy to intelligently run vital parts of our business unchecked? B is for bandwagon, that everybody seems to always be chasing, and most would barely know what to do if they actually catch them. All of these people that dream of going west, but for most they go very south. The only winners are those who know how to make the wagons, sell the wagons, and the fewer who learn how to drive them properly. C is for communication, or too often miscommunication. If sometimes we struggle to understand others, imagine the chaos that can happen if AI gets the wrong end of the stick. D is for disjointed, where nothing is built to talk to anything else, and often no quality control between systems exists, with no integrated exception handling if anything goes wrong. This means that humans are reduced to the administrative bridge between these disjointed systems, which is often far harder than just doing the whole task single-handed, let alone having to deal with the unpredicted fallout if something unpredicted happens. E is for expectations. All of these great expectations, but often unrealistic expectations. It's not built to do a fraction of what most people think it can do. There's so many things that AI won't do. It won't close deals or build relationships, but it can be used to help to reach out, to open lots of doors, and can dramatically improve workflow automation to help you scale. It's not ready to replace real intelligence, but it can save you time having to remember to do everything. The better you train it, the better it serves you. So it's not all bad. It's frequently known for its hallucinations, where it makes up things to fill the gaps. It often forgets what it's being told, including key facts. It can ignore the rules that you set and go off on this random journey mansplaining or constantly rewording everything you have really concentrated hard to get right. It makes false claims of some of the research that it does. It fails at simple mathematic algebra with an inability to reconcile simple data. It makes obvious mistakes. Sometimes it even knows it's made those mistakes. Sure, it'll own it, but it doesn't fix it. And often we see that it's overconfident in having answers, and they're wrong. Just to give you a couple of fun examples. Ask AI today to set a reminder, and it goes, sure, I can do that, and you believe it. Why wouldn't you? It's technology that's confidently telling you it can, but it can't. You can't even rely upon GPT today to tell you the time. It pretends it can. So what can we trust it to do? Surely we should only ask it to do what we can trust it to deliver. Anything else would be foolish. After all, we're in the infancy of AI being of any value. And yet there's big named businesses trying to outsource their entire operations to AI, unsuccessfully, I might add. But how about using it to replace those tedium jobs rather than replace the uniquely valuable and creative input of key people, especially the ones that actually helped make your business what it is? So, you want to use it properly? Ask yourself, would you let Forrest Gump run your business? It'll do the best it can, but it isn't intelligent. It hallucinates. It makes mistakes and lots of them. It can only take responsibility after you catch it out and then doesn't have the capabilities to fix the problems it causes. It can't be trusted with anything complex, and everything it does still needs supervision and validating. So I've shown lots of great reasons why AI today really isn't up to the task that people are trying to use it for. But what can it be used for that's of value? More ideas for using AI wisely include drafting out a legal contract like an NDA or a website privacy policy, or a returns agreement as a solid starting point at least. You could use it to learn another language. Start a conversation with AI to help you improve your Spanish, and you can even have it listen to your accent. Do some research. Ask AI to produce a table of statistics of anything that you're trying to collate into a presentation. But remember to check the sources. Capture details of what your business does in an AI instance, and then ask it questions on anything and everything and see that it really truly understands it and can play it back and what it thinks the answer may be to other questions that you may not necessarily have worded correctly. You'll soon see whether AI gets it and whether the world would then get it too. You could use AI to build a virtual team of AI workers, such as salespeople or social media content managers. You could even use it as a legal eagle, a HR assistant, a virtual assistant, and so much more. You could turn your help pages into scripts and make AI videos for your customers. You can use it obviously as a sounding board to refine your message, and you can teach it to help to pull together all of those information pieces that can become great induction documents, and lots more besides. AI relies upon input, whether that is direct or indirect. Direct being via a web browser straight into some AI engine, or indirect via an application or other system. And it's all about the input, the processing, and the output. So let's start with some demos. Demo number 1. So if we wanted to use our demo site in order to modify the profile of a directory listing, let us pick on the directory listing of Save Fuel on this site. And this is the sort of thing that people put on as a directory listing. It's not particularly attractive. And so, as a direct consequence of that, what we can do is we can copy that, put it into our profile optimizer, enter in the website address, even give it a little bit of extra help to decide how we want it to look. Hit submit, and it will generate an output. And that output should, if all goes well, turn our listing into something we can copy and paste straight into the listing. So we copy that, go into the edited listing, paste it in, save it, and you'll see once we hit save just what the difference is. Let us scroll down. This is just a simple example. So after, it looks a little bit more like that, which you've got to admit is a far nicer appearance than that. So to go from that to that only takes a few moments. Imagine doing that and customizing it for different directories, each with different audiences. Perhaps you could even create different directory listings on all the different sites. And now for demo number 2. Imagine we want to do a meeting summary. You've had a great meeting with someone, but you've got a day ahead of Zoom calls, phone calls, and other things to do in order to get through your day. Imagine that you want to do a summary and upload it then to your CRM, whatever that CRM may be, something like Go High Level or HubSpot or whatever the CRM, it doesn't really matter. But just imagine that you've got your transcript from Zoom. Click on your file, upload your file, hit submit, and watch as it generates an output from that meeting. We can ask it anything about that meeting, and that gives us a great idea of who was in the meeting, what were the actions, and if you promise any actions, hopefully it'll tell you what they are. So we can see that it's able to produce a good enough output for us to be able to work with. If I was more specific, I could have produced better quality outputs. Demo number 3 is all about the email tool overload.email, developed by IRTA. If we open up the application, it will check to see if it's online, and it will check who you are, or at least who you were when you last logged in. Continuing on, we can see that there's a number of screens from which we can check any notifications with emails. We can set new rules to file emails here, flag emails there. We can check which mailboxes we want to action rules on, and so much more, including building a contacts list. But what we're here to do and focus on is AI. And with AI, we can ask AI a question. So question number 1 will hopefully allow us to summarize all of the emails from Brian over the last 30 days. With the overload.email tool, you can not only run rules to help to file away all of the emails from Bob or Brian or Betty, but you can also use AI to add an extra layer and an extra level onto what you can get it to do. Imagine that you have emails from Bob. You don't have time to read them, but you don't want to delete them, and you file them away using the rules into a folder. Next thing you know, you're getting a phone call from Bob, and you go, I wonder what Bob's been up to for the last 3 months. You ask the AI and say, what's Bob been doing? Bob will be then connected to the right email address and go, you want to know the information to summarize what Bob has been doing for the last 3 months. Can take that information and it can then spit out an answer. It can say, oh yes, Bob, he went to Peru. He fell down a well. He broke his leg. He got helicoptered out. He's in recovery and he's now training for a marathon. Hey Bob, how's your marathon training going? And Bob feels warm and fuzzy because you've taken the time to notice what he's been up to. Or we could simply use it to flag emails, file them away, or do other things that would otherwise be mundane to stay on top of. Demo number 4. During this demo, we're going to quickly show how to turn a website or a supporting document into a knowledge base to use with a chatbot. So here we have the website citizassociation.org, a pretty regular website for a non-profit advisory body that works in the industry of pets, people, and more. And so there's a lot of information on the website, but we've also got a dump of information in a text file as well. And so what we do is we go through the website into chatbot button and then tell it the website address, point it to the file, tick the box and click submit. And this is going to do 2 things. The first is it's going to create an online knowledge base with a unique reference. And the second is it's also going to create a bit of code that we can paste onto a website or into a group or a directory or somewhere else. And with this unique code, we can then copy that code and then we can embed that code into a website. So here is one I briefly prepared earlier. I edited this to launch a chatbot, and then suddenly I have the ability to then ask lots of questions about that company. There we go. So you can see that an individual membership is £35 per year for a sitter. And there, with this simple link, I could then go, paste that in, and sign up. There we go. Nice and easy call to action to be able to buy that membership and job done. Imagine building up this wonderful intellectual property which describes what your business really does. Imagine taking that and breaking it down to externally facing data for sales, to externally facing knowledge base for help and support, to an internal marketing knowledge base, or to one that's going to help to generate sales scripts. Suddenly, you've got your knowledge base tailored for the right audience. Remember, AI is not artificial intelligence. What we have today is artificial interpretation, relying entirely on what is given. So, to demonstrate this very quickly, imagine, if you will, that AI pulls information from 10 different data sources on the internet about wildlife in British gardens. 8 say to expect birds, hedgehogs, and badgers. 1 is a misfile from a popular journalist who's visiting Kenya and writes about zebras and giraffes. Another is a fiction source from a popular author who writes that at the bottom of the British garden, underneath the hedgerows, if you look hard enough, live fairies and elves. So AI concludes that British gardens have hedgehogs, zebras, and fairies. After all, how is AI really supposed to tell fact from fiction from misfire? The key to AI is to treat it like a gremlin and be careful what you feed it. Are you breaking the 5 biggest mistakes of AI? Have you built a knowledge base which can be interrogated and used to output on chats or even on directories, on media posts, induction documents, and so much more? Have you considered how you could bolt on AI, such as creating a chatbot like using one of our tools? And can your business use AI better? An often overlooked area is that of security. And how much of your intellectual property is being shared without you knowing? Are you truly protecting your business? What applications are there out there that use AI? Especially the ones you've used for years that have added in that capability. Can you trust them not to share your intellectual property? And in a world where everything is shared online, how do we protect ourselves from being copied? 5 years ago, we used to be called openai.org.uk. We were looking at global standards for AI and how we could standardize on how to work with it. 3 years later, ChatGPT was invented, so we had to reinvent ourselves and our name. And at aiready.co.uk, we developed bespoke and off-the-shelf applications to make your business AI ready. But as AI cybersecurity specialists, we also focus on what most people neglect: making their business secure while leaving the back door open. And often they send out their intellectual property into the public domain. Instead, we should look at not just locking up the front door, but helping to control and regulate the back door too. How do we get, though, such great results out of AI? The answer is simple: because we're very precise about the questions we ask. We provide the right context and we avoid ambiguity to set the right expectations and limit the probability of receiving bad results. We don't trust AI to think, but we trust it to do the work, if we can handle the mistakes it might make. AI has opened up a world of far more complex inputs, greater investigation capabilities, and far greater output options, formats, and other variations. Plus, we're seeing a wide range of tools that are able to push inputs and pull outputs to support complex workflow. AI really is simply just an extension of our information search and find journey. So what is next? Those who have read our white paper will get an insight into where we think AI is going. But there is another rule that we should always follow. Ready, aim, and then fire. And too many people forget the middle one. But success comes to those who aim. AI made simple.